Hey hunters, this is going to be a very scuffed tutorial on how to improve your FPS and your 1% lows, or basically your performance in Monster Hunter Wilds, so you can enjoy a better FPS with your graphics card and your processor or your computer overall. Sorry, I'm recording this at like 1:56 a.m. So let's get right to it. This is compatible with any video cards, either if you have an older AMD GPU or an older NVIDIA GPU, like GTX 10 series, RX 5000 series, up to the most recent generation of your graphics cards. So, first thing you will need to do is I have the tabs open here for the mods. I'll post all the links in the description. The first thing that we need is the reframework. Uh, Basically, the latest version. I'll show the link here. In the reframework official GitHub, you download MHWilds.zip. Save all the downloads in like your folder for Monster Hunter Wilds. Not the install folder, but maybe create a folder where you have the mods for Monster Hunter Wilds here, for example. So I download that. Next is we need the direct storage upgrade. Basically, Capcom used an older version of direct storage, which has a lot of issues. That's why the game is having a lot of stuttering issues. Uh, the author of this mod, he just basically extracted the official direct storage 1.2.3 update from the official Microsoft Direct Storage page. So the links are in the bottom again. Just go to Files and then Manual Download. And then just download it. Same thing, just keep all the downloads first under one file or under one folder. I'm sorry. This is gonna be really scuffed because I'm not gonna be having enough time to cut this out. So it's just one record straightforward. After you download the direct storage update, this is for frame generation, DLSSG to FSR3. Now, if you're an NVIDIA user and you have a 40 series graphics card or 50 series, you don't need to use this. The only people that needs to use this mod is those that have older graphics cards from GTX 9 series to GTX 10 series, 20 series, 30 series, or AMD video cards, RX 5000, RX 6600, stuff like that. So the only exception is if you have a 40 series graphics card or a 50 series graphics card, you can skip this step. Now, what this does is, for the people that can use this, is it allows you to enable frame generation even if your card does not support it. For example, I have a RTX 3090 which does not support frame generation. I can enable DLSS and frame generation FSR3 even if they're not compatible using this mod. Another example is, let's say, I helped someone prior that has a 3060 laptop, RTX 3060 laptop. He can use he can use DLSS, but not frame generation. So that's why you need this if you have an older card. So for this, just a different step, go to Files and use the universal version, this one, and then download it. Same thing, save it to the mods folder or your optimization folder. Next is go to the NVIDIA Streamline update. Now, this can be misleading. The mod page says that this is focused for the LSS frame generation, which is for the 40 series and 50 series NVIDIA users. However, the component of this mod, the NVIDIA Reflex boost because Capcom has an issue with their NVIDIA Reflex settings and boost settings from Monster Hunter Wilds. The component of this mod, which fixes the reflex, is actually going to give you a much better performance for your NVIDIA graphics card. So if you're an AMD user, you don't need the Streamline update. You can skip this. This is for NVIDIA users, any generation. So same thing, file, manual download, and then just download. Now, after you download this, the next two files from Nexus Mods is optional, but I highly recommend it. This is called Disable Post Processing Effects. Now, the title might be misleading. We're not actually going to use the component which disables the post processing effects. We're only going to use this for the lens distortion because Capcom's implementation of lens distortion actually messes up with the how it looks in game. It's kind of like looking a bit of fish eye on the edges of the screen with lens distortion, as well as the film grain effect. So same thing, just download it. And then lastly, the dedicated disable lens distortion mode. This is optional as well, but I highly recommend this as well. Next is we need to get the DLSS swapper. This will allow RTX users 20 series, 30 series to use the new transformer model of DLSS, which is DLSS 4, which provides a better performance and better visual quality when using the DLSS upscale. So if you are a AMD user or if you a let's say AMD GPU users, GTX NVIDIA users, you can skip this. But if you are an RTX 20 series, 30 series, or above user, you definitely need this. It is recommended. So on this page, you just select on the releases and then download the installer version here. Next, this is important because Monster Hunter Wilds uses the old DLSS 3. We need this to force Monster Hunter to use the new transformer model after swapping it with the DLSS swapper. So under NVIDIA Profile Inspector page, which I will put in the link below, just go to Releases and then download NVIDIA Profile Inspector and then save. Now, since we have now all the files ready, this is everything we need. We just need to make sure that we have a specific setting turned on our computer because this will allow us to use frame generation, which will boost our frame rate significantly. Go to your Windows settings. Give me one sec. Under Windows settings, type in graphics. Now, on graphics settings, go to change default graphics settings and make sure hardware accelerated GPU scheduling is turned on. This is required for frame generation, either FSR3 or DLSS to work. So make sure that this is turned on before you start with the next step. Okay, so the next step, I have all the files here. I'm just gonna create a folder here. You can name this folder anything you want, but I'll just name it installed. Now, you just need to extract everything inside this folder. So I extract it here. So I'm done with the reframework. I'm gonna go with the direct storage update. And then with the streamline update, next is the DLSS to FSR3. Now we're going to use the version, the DLL underscore version for compatibility. Just double click that and extract version.dll and then DLSSG to FSR3. So we're done with these files. Next is we're going to use the optional ones, disable lens, and then disable post-processing effects. And just hit replace. Now, after that's all after all of that is extracted here, you have the files ready here, but it's not yet on the Monster Hunters folder yet. So the reason why I uh, let you guys extract it onto a separate folder first, so that when the game updates, for example, new update comes out, for example, the March 10 update, it actually messed up with the optimization files and reverted it to like default, like you freshly installed MHWilds, which caused a lot of issues. So in case that there's a new update, all you need to do is you just copy this and put it on your Monster Hunter folder. So before we do that, we're just gonna install next is the DLSS Whopper. So you can install this to any folder you like. I have it already installed, so I'm just gonna close this. And you open the DLSS Whopper. Here is what it looks like. And you just look for your Monster Hunter Wilds. So since I've already done it with my end, all you need to do is go for DLSS, select and swap it to the most latest version, 310.2.1. If you're a 40 series or 50 series user, make sure the frame generation is updated as well. And then I believe FSR is already the latest version for Monster Hunter. But you can also change it if it's not yet the most latest version to 3.1.3 for AMD users and GTX users and RTX 20 series and 30 series users. After you've swapped all that, you can close DLSS Whopper. Next is NVIDIA Profile Inspector. Now, you need to extract these three files on a folder. For example, I create a folder here, NVIDIA Inspector. Just extract these three files there. Now open NVIDIA Profile Inspector. And since I've already done this, I'm just going to show you what you need to change. Click the drop down here and type Monster Hunter. And look for Wilds here. Now, what you need to change is here under number 5 common. You need to select Enable DLL Override. You have to switch it on. DLSS forced preset letter, since we use the DLSS Whopper and we want to take advantage of the transformer model and DLSS 4, select preset K. For 40 RTX 40 series and 50 series users, turn this on, DLSS FG, and make sure to force the latest version. Always use latest. If you're not an RTX 40 series or 50 series user, you can skip the DLSS FG. You just need DLSS override and then force preset. Next is the shader cache size. This helps a lot, so the game won't keep on loading the shader over and over again. Just change it to 100 gigabytes. Don't worry, it doesn't really use 100 gigabytes. it just allows the game to cache the shaders faster. So the game doesn't stutter that much or load too much of the textures every time you go in the game. Now hit here, apply changes. After you hit apply, you can close this one. Now the last part is you go to the files we extracted, all of this here. Reframework, direct storage, DLSSG to FSR3, and then streamline all of it, the one we just extracted from before. You just copy all of this, and then you go to your Monster Hunter folder. Right click the Monster Hunter, right click properties, and then installed files. Click browse, and this is your folder. Now just hit paste. So if you haven't installed any mods yet, just hit replace the files in all direction. Replace the files in all the destinations and just let it paste. I'm just gonna skip because I already installed the mod on my end. Now, once you pasted all of the files here, that's it. It's ready to launch. Just to show the performance, let me launch the game. It's gonna take a little bit to load for the first time if you recently installed these mods because it's basically connecting the reframework mod in here. Since it's still loading, if you guys have like any questions or any help needed, feel free to just reach out to my socials or my Facebook so that I can guide you. I am also free to help if I'm not at work to remote your computer. So if you're having a hard time installing it, I have a couple of people from the Monster Hunter page in order for them to have everything set up via remote. Okay. So once you're here, just insert button is the reframework. If you press insert on your keyboard, it shows it. Sorry. Let me just turn down the volume a bit. Okay. So first thing before you go into the game, insert for framework. And then at the script generated UI, just open the post processing FX. And my recommendation is make sure that lens distortion is not enabled and film grain is not enabled because this will give you actually a better visual quality. And then hit apply graphic settings and then save settings. And then just press insert again. Now, I have a bit of a BP graphics card, but a lot of people are not able to run this at this FPS on a RTX 3090. So I'll just showcase what the mod does. I'm gonna make sure that I'm using DLAA, which is native. And even though I'm using DLSS on an RTX 3090 graphics card, as you can see, frame generation can be turned on. Now, this is not using frame generation for DLSS, but actually frame generation for FSR3, even if I'm using DLSS. Now, I'll turn up all the settings just to showcase the performance boost. Okay, except the texture pack. It isn't really that much of a difference for me, so I didn't install it. So everything is the highest settings right now. Except motion blur and vignette effect. I don't like this. This is on your preference, but I have these two turned on and everything maxed. And this turned off so it doesn't reduce the particle effects on the screen. Now take note, I'm recording, so this is using quite a bit of the FPS. I think shadow play takes about like 5 to 10 FPS. I'll just change the weather while the texture is loading. Oh, sorry, I forgot. How they change the weather again? Oh no, I don't know. I haven't played that much. So, how do you change the weather? I'm so sorry. This tutorial is so scuffed. Anyways, I'll just go outside to show you the performance. As you can see, my frame time is 0.5 millisecond and my FPS is about 69 to 70. And shadow play is eating around like 10 FPS from that. And take note, I have everything turned up on the graphic settings. Even the visual quality is turned on. And I made sure that I'm using DLAA, so no upscaling. And this is the FPS I'm getting. Now, the good thing is that we use DLSS Swapper to use DLSS4, even if I turn it to balanced or performance. I don't lose that much visual quality. Like the game still looks great and crisp. This is also at 1440p.
What forces could have shaped it this way?
And now I'm at 80 to 90 FPS. With my frame time still staying below 1 millisecond or about 1 millisecond.
Bet I can set up camp there.
Now, if you have a 4K monitor or higher than 1440p, I suggest you use performance since we are using the transformer model. You won't lose that much visual quality, but you'll get around like 10 to 15 FPS if you're not recording with shadow play or your recording software.
I'll put the materials I gathered in
And
your item
that's it.
box.
Basically, that's it. I'm not using ray tracing because it only affects waters. And for my, it's on your own preference. The screen space reflection, if you don't use ray tracing, it's good enough. So I just turned off ray tracing completely. And I'm using balance. And everything is max settings except ray tracing. So I get stable 100 frames per second. And give 1 sec. And look at my 1% lows. Let me expand the settings. How do I increase the size? Here. And then font size. And I should position the statistics. Give me just 1 second. There. My 1% lows are 70, 50, 70, sometimes ranging. So it's, if you're looking it at a higher refresh rate monitor, it's a lot
Let's try to
smoother
keep a low
and
profile.
very good looking as well in
Great.
game.
Let's be careful.
I want to show Scarlet Forest because Scarlet Forest is one of the most FPS unfriendly areas in the game. Everything is turned high. I'm using DLSS balanced with FSR3 frame generation. And this is the performance I'm getting. And I'm sorry, I don't know how to change the weather to showcase it on a brighter location. But basically, that's it. That's how you get to play Monster Hunter on a higher FPS. Even if you have a low-end video card or a higher-end video card, no matter what your video card is, you will get like around 10 to 15 or sometimes 10 to 20 FPS boost with the optimization mods. And your 1% close will also increase, which will make your game feel a lot smoother. Alright, thank you. Hope that helps.